This story comes from a Reddit user about the night that changed her life forever. In a rare occurrence, this girl's whole family was going out for the night. Her mother was going out, her sister wasn't coming home, she had the entire house to herself. So she just decided to curl up in her bedroom, have a cozy night in, and watch a Netflix series. But not even 30 minutes in, she suddenly heard noises coming from downstairs in her kitchen. The faint sound of an unknown man laughing to himself from downstairs. She was paralyzed with fear because she remembered she left her cell phone on the downstairs counter.
Oh, you dummy.
She also knew if she emailed 911, eventually somebody would come. She waited for 7 agonizing minutes until police eventually come, and there is an eruption of screams and wrestling from the kitchen. When they found her and brought her downstairs, she was told to close her eyes, as she later learned in horror that the man who had been in her kitchen had her mother spread out on the floor in pieces.
What? Jeez, man, that's not what I was expecting at the end. I thought it was just a homeless man trying to watch The Office. He was having a couple laughs, but instead he chopping up people into bitty itty bitty swiggly diggly pieces. That's nasty, bro. I did not expect that from you, man. You know what? Guess what? You're canceled. After watching scary movies, ha ha ha, in the mirror, ha ha ha. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, the lag. Wait a minute. Bro, you're done. It's over. It's over. Your house is haunted. Your mirror's haunted. Your face is haunted. All right, guys, I'm gonna try it. Let me see. Here we go. Hey. Wait a minute.
A teenage girl notices a pickup truck following her home one night after leaving a high school basketball
No, she doesn't.
At first, she thought we must be going in the same direction, but then she began to watch the truck in her rearview mirror. When she sped up, so did he. When she passed a car, he did too. Then he turned on his high beams and left them on for quite some time. So she began to feel uneasy. She tried speeding away, but he would continue to follow her, flashing his high beams the entire drive. Finally, she pulled into her driveway, but the truck pulled in right behind her. She jumped out of her car and ran into her house, telling her father to call the police. But when police arrived, the man had a gun in his hand and told them that he wasn't the one they should be arresting. He pointed inside of the girl's now parked car, and there was a man crouched behind the driver's seat with a knife. The man had slipped into the girl's car just before she left the school game, and the man in the truck saw it all happen but had no way to stop it. So he followed her car, and each time the man in the back seat reached up to stab the girl, the truck driver would flash his high beams and the killer would drop back down into the seat to avoid getting caught.
Wow, gosh, dang, man. How do y'all end up in these dang predicaments? Life lessons with Dang Matt Smith. Number 1, before you get into your car, check the back seat, okay? From the outside, you look through the windows and make sure nobody's there. Number 2, as soon as you get in the car, you lock it, just in case. And lesson number 3, if you think somebody's following you, try to lose them. Fast and Furious style, baby.
We family.
Terrifying games you don't want to play, part 15.
Terrifying hairstyles you don't want to have.
Okay.
The Man Outside game. Every time you win this game, you will be granted an extra year of life. But each time you lose, 10 years will be subtracted from your life. To play this game correctly, you will need to unlock all of your windows and make sure that they are uncovered, and then wait until 2 a.m. Once you have done this, you will need to go up to each window individually, knock 3 times, and say, man outside, are you there?" If you hear what seems to be a voice in the wind telling you to run and hide, pay attention to those instructions. The game has now begun. For the next several hours, you will be hunted by a mysterious entity known as the Man Outside. He is not allowed to come inside himself, but his shadow will attempt to drag you towards the windows so that he can see you.
Jeez.
If he finds you before sunrise, the game is over, and I'm sorry, but you've lost. However, if he has not found you by sunrise, knock on the windows once more and say, man outside, you have lost. Upon hearing this, he will disappear immediately, but you may need to chase his shadow away with a broom. Comment whether or not you would play this game, and follow for more.
What? You gotta chase the shadow out with the broom? What? I gotta sweep him off his feet? Can't I just spray him with Raid or something like that? Like, you know, I'll get the Lysol. That's ridiculous, man. The shadow needs to go. Like, if there's light out, how can there be a shadow? It don't make no gosh dang sense. It's science, man. It's science.
Some of y'all didn't believe me when I said this was a skinwalker.
What?
What kind of horse comes right up to you like this? And look at the legs. It only has 3.
Wait, what? No, it has 4 legs, you dumbo.
Look, you see 1, 2, 3. Oh, uh-oh. What would you do? Oh. I would not go downstairs. I'd go right back where I came from. Back to Africa. Oh, going down the stairs. Oh, heck no. Run, girl. There you go. Congratulations. You have graduated the Black Academy. That's what I'm talking about. Soon as she saw that, she was like,
Wait a minute.
and then she saw it one more time. She's like,
I'm gone. I'm out.
go. Run back up the stairs, back up the escalator, and never come back.
Haunted Places in Every U.S. State, Part 17. Kentucky. The Goat Man of Pope Lick. There's no clear consensus on how the Goat Man came to be.
Ew.
Some say he was a circus performer. Others say he was a farmer who tortured his goats for Satan and in return was transformed into a hideous goat monster. However, everyone does agree on his appearance. Dark fur, pale skin,
It's racist.
goat legs, and horns. The monster is said to hide under the bridge at Pope Lick Creek in Louisville to lure people onto the tracks, only to see them hit by oncoming trains. Sadly, this urban legend has had some dangerous consequences. In 2016, an Ohio woman fell to her death from the bridge while looking for the Goat Man. Well, the official story is that she fell. Some believe that she did successfully find the Goat Man and then was thrown off by him.
What? Are you serious? God dang. Y'all need to quit looking for the Goat Man. Like, why?
It's a man that's a goat, or it's a goat that's a man.
Either way, it's ugly. Like you don't need to see that. Stay your butt at home. I mean, don't be going on bridges looking for the Goat Man. You already know it's a... Wait, that's a sheep. Anyway.
Carmen was a young girl who just moved out to Indiana, and she was relentlessly bullied, particularly by this group of girls who were set out to ruin this girl's life. During a school fire drill, the girls thought it would be funny if they cornered her near this open sewer, try to get her to fall down, get her covered in sewage, and embarrass her. So they surround her, and she falls in, but when she falls, she hits her face on the side wall and scrapes off the entire front of her face.
Ew.
Lands on her neck, which snapped backwards. None of the girls owned up to pushing her or surrounding her. They just said that they saw her fall. This was a tragic accident. Months would pass when suddenly the whole school starts getting this string of anonymous messages saying that what happened to Carmen wasn't an accident, she was pushed. They never found out who sent these messages though. Not long after that, one of the girls who was responsible claimed she could hear whispering and laughing in the shower, which she believed was coming from the drain. One by one, all of those girls met their end in a very similar way.
What? Y'all need to stay away from that dang sewer. Are you kidding me? What in the Stranger Things is happening, man? Like, why are these people so mean? Oh, it'd be funny to make her fall down the sewer. Really? That's funny? You know what's funny? Your face.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do have
Her
an
eyes are
Easter scary
scary.
story. Okay, so this story that I'm going to tell you is from this movie. It's like a compilation of short, scary stories.
Girl barely
called
have any clothes
Holidays.
on.
And each story has to do with one
She barely
holiday.
have any
It was
clothes
the night
on.
before
Okay.
Easter, and this little girl was really scared because what if the Easter bunny comes into her house and scares her in the middle of the night? Well, the little girl got up in the middle of the night to go get a glass of water, and when she was in the kitchen, she started hearing noises. When she peeked into the living room, she saw the Easter bunny, only he didn't look like a normal Easter bunny. This is what the Easter bunny looked like.
Ah!
The religious iconography makes it even more scary for me. Look at the crown of thorns on his head. The Easter bunny sees the girl looking at him and he hops over to her. He says that she's the first person who's seen him in a very, very long time. And now that she's seen him, she has to become the next Easter bunny. The Easter bunny hatches an egg out of the palm of his hand and puts it in the girl's mouth, and she becomes the next Easter bunny.
That's gross. What? Thanks for your nasty bedtime stories, Cinderella. I did not need to see this nasty wannabe bootleg Make-A-Wish Walmart version of the Easter Bunny. Boy! That thing looks like it will hit your car with the shopping cart in the parking lot.
Not today, Satan.
Discovered something disturbing under the McDonald's ball pit.
No, you didn't.
As I sunk in deeper, I eventually fell through to the other side. I found myself in a huge ball pit. It was dark. I climbed out and saw the rest of my
that's
surroundings. I realized I was in a basement under McDonald's. Everything felt so eerie, especially with the low hum emitting from the lights. Just then, I saw a way out. I began going upstairs and heard a clap. I quietly ran up as fast as possible. I heard in the far distance. I opened the door and shut it silently. I was in the back of the restaurant now. I couldn't question or process anything in the moment. All I did was darted for my car and got out of there. That night, I couldn't sleep. I really couldn't process anything. That morning, I drove back. Later on, our boss came in. Obviously, for me, he's suspect number one for this. I started a conversation with him and asked about what this door was. Oddly enough, he said that this was our basement storage room, which I guess is partially true, and I asked him if there's anything weird down there. And he said no, just normal equipment. He never acknowledged the oddly placed ball pit there. That night, everyone left. That leader from earlier said bye to me, but then proceeded to stare at me for a good 3 seconds and didn't say anything. He then closed the door. After about an hour of cleaning, I headed for the ball pit. I stood in the same spot from before, but I didn't fall in. There was no hole. I began moving the balls until I could see that there was a floorboard placed there. In that moment, whoever was responsible for this knew that I knew. I called 911 and told them I have reason to believe I know what happened to all those kids. I took my broom and I broke down the board and I fell in, this time being more observant. I noticed a small shoe near a door that I hadn't entered before. Tune in next time to see what happens.
No! Man, I guess we can't go to McDonald's anymore. Oh, we ain't loving it. I can't even remember the last time I saw a McDonald's that still has a ball pit. The McDonald's I go to just has the drive-thru and like a couple tables inside.
And very reasonable prices.
A 15-year-old girl named Donna lived with her father in a very small house. Ever since her mother died, Donna had depended on her dad for everything. One morning, Donna's father was leaving for a business trip. He then told her that he won't be back until later that night, and with that, he kissed Donna on the forehead and left. Later that day, when Donna came home from school, she did some homework and watched TV. The clock then struck midnight, and she noticed her father still wasn't back, so she decided to go to bed. That night, Donna had a dream. She found herself standing on the edge of a busy highway. She then looked across the highway and saw a familiar figure standing there. It was her father, and his hands were cupped around his mouth trying to yell something. But Donna couldn't make out what he was saying. She noticed her father's eyes were very sad, and he seemed to be desperately trying to communicate with her. She could barely make out the words he was saying, but it sounded like "don't open the door." Suddenly, Donna woke up to a tapping noise. Then somebody rang the doorbell. Donna then scrambled out of bed, got dressed, and ran down to the front door. Looking through the peephole, she saw her father's face outside. He was staring right at her, and the doorbell was still ringing. "Okay, hold on, I'm coming," she shouted. She pulled back the deadbolt and was about to unlatch the door when she stopped. She then looked through the peephole again, and she noticed there was something off about her father's expression. His eyes were wide open, and he looked terrified. She then slid the deadbolt back into place. "Dad, did you forget your keys?" Donna yelled. The doorbell just kept ringing. "Dad, answer me." Still, the doorbell continued to ring. "Dad, please, I need you to answer me.
Seriously.
Is there someone else out there with you?" Still, the doorknob continued to ring. She then yelled at the top of her lungs, "I'm not opening the door until you answer me." The doorbell kept ringing and ringing, but for some reason, her father refused to answer her desperate cries. For the rest of the night, Donna sat in the corner next to the door, crying and helplessly listening to the doorbell ringing over and over again.
Scary.
She then eventually fell asleep. In the morning when she woke up, she noticed it was very quiet. She then got up and went over to the peephole and looked inside. Her father was still there, just staring at her. She then cautiously opened the door and was confronted with a sight that filled her with unimaginable horror. Her father's severed head was hanging from a nail above the door, and there was a note attached to the doorbell. In weird sloppy handwriting, it read, "Clever girl."
Yeah, so don't open the door. I don't care if you think it's Amazon or your Postmates or Uber Eats, it don't matter. Just wait until whoever's there leaves. And then you go open the door and get your Postmates and hope that it's not a head right there. Anyway, good night. But yeah, go ahead, click on the screen and watch another one. Yeah, man.